CBT News celebrates 12 years of delivering news, content, coaching, and analysis to the retail automotive community. You're watching Marketing Matters with Colin Carrasquillo, exclusively on CBT News.
Hey there, Colin Carrasquillo here with Marketing Matters. I'm your host, and as you know, Digital Marketing Director at the Nielsen Automotive Group, bringing you the boots on the ground perspective of what's happening in the automotive space when it comes to marketing. That's right, the thing that I love, eat, breathe, and sleep it. Now today, we're going to be talking about challenging your vendor partners. Now, no, I'm not talking about having a fight club with all your vendor partners. There's no boxing match that's taking place, right? This is about creating a dialogue and a relationship with your vendor partners that will enable both of you to achieve at levels that you have not before. Now, a lot of dealers are guilty of bringing in new vendor partners, right? Third-party providers, let's say listing sites or search providers or email marketing providers. And because we have this immediate gratification that we're seeking, right? We want sales, sales, sales. We really refuse to work with vendors for an extended period of time if we're not receiving what we ultimately think we should be receiving from those vendors, the results, right? Our return on our investment. Now, I am always an individual, and I implore all of you out there to give your vendors a shot. Give them time to learn your organization and operations. Give them time to fully digest your current market conditions, your concerns. And ultimately, through that dialogue and a cadence that we will discuss here in setting up communication with your vendor partners, I guarantee you, instead of kicking them out, they're going to become your most trusted and highest providing vendor partners. So, no fight clubs here, no means to cause unnecessary tension between your vendor partners, but consider them like this. A vendor partner is just that. They're a partner. They should be as much a part of your dealership's operation as you are. They're there to assist you. Now, sure, they're providing a different product or service, right? That's how you choose to align with different vendor partners. Perhaps it's a specific product you're after, the level of customer service that they're providing to you. But ultimately, you're choosing to do business with these people. You're giving them a peek under the hood. Not necessarily the keys to the kingdom, but hey, they're inside. They're in the castle. Now, ultimately, instead of squandering a beautiful, or what could be a beautiful relationship, we're going to work on strengthening those relationships through challenges. Challenges that will make your vendor partners work harder for you. So let's discuss. Vendor partners, when they approach you, or you approach them for that matter, often have a set way of doing things, right? A foundation. Now, they'll all sell themselves as not one size fits all, and that's fine. We want the vendor partners that aren't one size fits all. However, those vendor partners got to where they were because they had a foundation. And this is how they do business internally. They have a way that has worked for them for a history of time. But will it work for us? That's what we need to find out. So ultimately, when you have a new vendor that you are considering, I would have what I call a set the table meeting, right? It's like you're inviting someone new over for dinner. Set the table. It's going to be a very informal conversation. But within this set the table meeting, what you want to do is ask the vendor partner, or for that matter, have a communication or dialogue with the vendor partner about the dealership's goals, current market conditions, the brands that you represent and the challenges that those specific brands are going through, who your customer is, right? Do you even understand who your customer is? But if you don't understand, how can your vendor partner start to understand who the customer that you're looking for or your existing customer base is? You need to have this conversation and this dialogue to ensure that, one, you are a good fit for each other, but that the vendor partner will be working harder for you as you move forward in your relationship. So after you have the set the table meeting, ask questions. Start challenging the vendor partner now. Here's a challenge that this specific brand has. How you, vendor partner, would go about alleviating the challenge that we're facing for that specific brand. Now, if they don't have an answer for you then and there, fine, so be it. Have another set the table meeting at a later date. But ultimately, they should be able to provide you with an answer at a later point in time. Once you all are on the same page, you understand the goals, how the vendor partner can help you achieve those goals, who the target market is that you're going to be going after with that vendor partner. Then you can move on to stage 2, as I would call it. Stage 2 is ensuring that as these campaigns, your relationship strengthens and rolls out, you don't lose sight of the initial set the table meeting. The set the table meeting was the foundation for the relationship you are building and going to strengthen and move forward with in the future. Always revisit the conversation that you had with your vendor partner at the set the table meeting. Now your goals may change. The vendor partner might suggest some things that they recommend would help your campaigns perform better or receive more opportunities for sales and service at the dealership. But remember, the fundamentals and the foundation is what you built that relationship on. So once again, do not lose sight of that. Now, as you move forward, have that vendor partner provide you with some new things perhaps that they're seeing out in the space, right? We are one dealership group in the Northeast in New Jersey. That means that, sure, we might experience similar things to other dealers in the Northeast with our same brands, but we are absolutely not in the same situation with our customer base, levels of business, brands we represent, so on and so forth, with dealers across the country, or globally for that matter. So truly, that set the table meeting is exceptionally, exceptionally important when it comes to challenging your vendor partners. So we're going to talk about a cadence that I would recommend you utilize in order to ensure that you are having the dialogue with your vendor partners and that you're challenging each other. You can't just say, hey, vendor partner, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. You also need to understand and accept that they might challenge you back. And don't take that offensively. Don't take offense to the fact that they might say, well, we don't necessarily agree with the way that you want to go about doing this, or this is not how we would do things. That's perfectly fine. It's our jobs as marketers, as dealers, to understand that there are different ways to get to the same destination, which for us is selling and servicing more cars. Ultimately, the cadence I would recommend is this. For things that have the biggest bulk of your advertising investment in, your search engine marketing, your social media marketing, your digital display, have weekly meetings with those vendor partners. Now you might be saying, Colin, ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody. Ain't nobody got time for that. But ultimately, you should make time. You should make time to have those conversations weekly about your search engine marketing, your digital display, and your social media marketing. Why? Because things change all the time. Now, you might have a specific glut of inventory that you need to move. Well, you need to ensure that you can pivot through your digital marketing and advertising to focus on those models. So you're going to have a weekly cadence to say, hey, we need to make this change. Chess, not checkers. We're going to make this change, and next week I might make another change because our situation at the dealership, boots on the ground, has changed. Perhaps your dealer principal is generous enough to say, you know what, I'm going to put additional monies out of my own pocket into moving some of these aged units. Well, guess what? In order to separate yourself from the competition, the first thing you're going to want to do is market the fact that you have additional monies, dealer cash if you will, out on specific units. You can also use that internally. Go after your CRM, market that to those individuals. But when you're working with these vendor partners, ensure that that is built into these campaigns. Let me give you another example. Nissan, just an OEM that we represent, and they released for the holiday coming up some additional bonus cash. Well, what I could do is I could stand by and wait and hope that a consumer who's interested on the specific vehicle that the bonus cash was on shows up at the dealership and says, I'd like to buy X, Y, and Z car, and I know there is X bonus cash available for that vehicle. Or I could be proactive. I could say, you know what I want to do? I'm going to take that bonus cash messaging, even though it's for a flash moment, a flash in the pan, right? It's just a short period of time, and have that built into our campaigns. So now when people are searching for a Nissan dealer or a Nissan vehicle near me, that bonus cash can show up in that ad. It's timely, it's relevant, It's a better call to action than some other dealers in your market, and I guarantee you will be running, because they're just going to run with the same old messaging of, we have X vehicle available, there are 50 in stock, or we have lease offers on X, Y, and Z. It's not as timely as providing this additional incentive. So that's why a weekly cadence is exceptionally important, because things change. Things change like this. It's our job to adapt to those changes and ensure from a marketing perspective that we are doing just that. Now, you go to your email marketing. Whether you are doing internal email marketing to your customer database, right, your CRM, or you're working with an outside company. Perhaps you're buying conquest lists or with your agency of record. I would say it's quite appropriate to have a bi-monthly, twice a month, email marketing sit down with those vendor partners. Why? Well, at the beginning of the month, we're setting the table. This is what we want to do for this month, and here are the offers that we're going to run this month. And then at the end of the month, here are the results. This is what we saw through our analytics analysis and ultimately sales at the dealership. You can also use that secondary meeting or the second meeting as a set the table meeting for the next month. And who knows? Once again, just like with our search and social and display campaigns, things change just like that. So ultimately, you might want to build in the same type of messaging with bonus cash. Let's go back to that example with your email marketing providers. Now, if you're not communicating with them or challenging them to do more because the status quo, you will not succeed, especially in this hyper-competitive market. Now, when it comes to things like your retargeting, that can be done monthly. I would definitely recommend that just from a standard retargeting perspective, you do a monthly meeting with any vendor partners that you might leverage, utilize, so on and so forth. Why monthly? Well, retargeting or remarketing is about getting people back to your dealership. Now, of course, they'll do that over the period of the month and then even an extended period of time. That's why it's so valuable. It's continuing to bring people back longer than some of the other paid initiatives that you have in place. But ultimately, monthly is good because you're going to generate all this traffic from your search campaigns, your social media marketing, your email marketing campaigns, your display campaigns, your text blasts, everything that's out there for you. And ultimately, that traffic will continue to visit your dealership. So you need to accumulate the traffic before you end up looking back and saying, okay, this is how this outlet ended up impacting the results or performance of our retargeting. From there, once you end up getting all of your remarketing, display, so on and so forth in place, and you say, all right, I have a cadence, I'm going to do a monthly meeting with my remarketing, then you can start looking at some of your other vendor partners, right? Website listings, the Auto Traders of the world, the Cars.coms of the world. I think you're all really going to like this one. I'm going to give myself a little ding, 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 because here's a little tip for you. Ultimately, when you sign an agreement with these companies, it's based upon an inventory level that you have at your dealership at that given point in time. Now, they'll say, hey, can you estimate how many cars you're going to have in stock at X, Y, and Z date? I wish I had a crystal ball. I mean, I can project based upon the number of vehicles that we've sold in the past, historic data, or how quickly we're selling through vehicles in the current month to say, yeah, I'm going to get X, Y, and Z vehicles in. I'll have this many in inventory. But you know what? If you don't, why continue to pay the same rate that you paid if you had more vehicles at one point in time? You can renegotiate those contracts to save yourself some money. So what are we going to do? We're going to save money by throwing out the waste, yeet that thing right out of here. So ultimately, these are ways that you need to have communications with these vendor partners, once again, bi-monthly. Why? You're going to set the table at the beginning of the month. This is how many cars I have in inventory. These are vehicles I want to feature and focus on because they're either aged or maybe they're getting a lot of traction and are popular so you can move them quicker. And then end of the month, this is what happened with those vehicles and the solution, right? This is how this solution performed for us. And then once again, look forward to the next month. Finally, your website providers. This is crucial to me because you know what? I've been burned in the past with not meeting regularly with some website providers. Things can go wrong, and they go wrong quite regularly, which is a shame, but ultimately, now we figure out how we move forward and work through those problems and those issues. You need to have a meeting with your website provider at least monthly, sometimes even more. If you do it monthly, though, what this will enable you to do is review all of the analytics and website traffic that you've received, conversions from the website, so on and so forth. Plan on how you're going to optimize your website, make it stronger, better moving forward. But also then, if there's any mandates that come down from the OEM, right, different approvals that websites need to follow through with, that you are also going to be at the approval of those OEMs. And those things change, once again, quite regularly. So it's imperative, especially when it comes to the website, that you are having regular meetings with your website providers. Why? That's also another spot, let's call it the back door of your dealership, right? You have your brick and mortar location, the front door. You have the back door of your dealership. This back door is highly trafficked. There's people that are actually coming in and out of it that maybe you don't even know are there yet, but they are there. They are shopping. They are considering your brand to do business with. So ultimately, ensure that you are going over your website, all the reporting, optimization of the website on a monthly basis. Now, if all of that is good and well, and you are having these regular conversations, then I have to applaud you, because this is the step in the right direction to successfully challenging your vendor partners. Ultimately, when we challenge each other, right, in a positive manner and a productive manner, we will achieve more. Thank you very much. I hope you all achieve more. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Marketing Matters. I'm your host, Colin Carrasquillo. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Marketing Matters with Colin Carrasquillo, exclusively on CBT News.